My God, you have a library.
Yes.
That's amazing.
I started to buy some books, and then after a while I had a lot of boxes and books in my house. And then I saw, shit, my house is too small. I cannot place them.
Yeah.
I was living between the boxes.
Yeah.
And then I said, okay, we have to buy another house with a bibliothèque. So we have places to put the boxes, so that's why we bought it.
For the
bibliothèque.
Yeah, everybody I think buys a house because he doesn't have enough room for the books. This is a sign, you see, this is a sign when you have when your house is too small in order to fit the books that you read, that's a very good sign. It means that you read a lot and you're very intellectual and you can do many things with what you learn from the books. So I understand that you like to read, right?
Yeah, I like to read. I like to put some time in it because every time I open a book I learn something. But yeah, I'm also a guy who does a lot of stuff. Sometimes you need to read a little bit more before you do it, and I'm sometimes doing it first before I know maybe I can do it more a better way.
So you first do the thing and then you think about it.
Sometimes.
Yeah, I also do that almost every time.
Sometimes and then shit, I did some mistakes, but yeah, you learn from it.
What kind of books do you read? Or how did this reading change over time? Perhaps in the beginning of your adult life you started with some subjects, then you moved to some other and some other. How was this?
Yeah, when I did the first company, that's what I told is like communication was like you learn in school, you learn a lot of stuff.
Okay.
Because but it was technical and science, it was very interesting. But
you did engineering, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So that were interesting stuff. But when you start a company, then you will see, oh shit, financial, how is that? Communication with people, how is that? Marketing, what is that? This is what is that? So you know a lot of stuff you didn't learn in your school. And a very important thing is also you didn't learn a lot about people, about human. And if you have a company, if you want to make it bigger, if you want to do more stuff, yeah, it's always with people. Everything you do in your life is with people. And that's why I saw shit, I'm not so very good in it from the start. That was because I never learned how to do it. You just don't learn it at school.
So you believe that you can learn everything?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because I also believe that.
Yeah.
Because many people say, oh, I did not learn that in school, I'm not made for that, blah blah blah, my profession is some other kind, I cannot do that.
You can learn everything. So if you really want to do it, you can learn it.
You can learn everything, right?
Yeah, that's true.
So you basically saw what you didn't have in your in your knowledge, and you started to fill the gaps.
Yeah.
Marketing, blah blah blah. Okay, I understand something.
So when I started with communication because that I needed the most. Because when like an engineer is always a solution thinker. He sees always solutions.
Okay.
But the problem is if you say to somebody, this is my solution, yeah, he will not do it. He will not have because it's not his solution. It's your solution. And if you always guide people to solutions, they will not do it exactly like you want because it's not their solution. They are not motivated to do it like that.
So let me repeat because it's a very interesting idea. So you say that you always, or most of the time, you have the solution.
Yeah.
But you cannot just go there and say this is the solution, and the people will say, oh, he's the wise guy, he's the genius, we just do it. No, right?
It doesn't work like
that. It doesn't work, right? It's real.
Yeah.
This is a real problem.
Yeah.
So you basically not only have to find the solution, but you also have to find the way in which people to believe the solution, right?
Yeah.
So how do you do that?
That's the thing. It's much better that people comes with the solution, and that you then say, oh, this is a nice solution. Let's do it like that. And then that guy is.
So you're the surprised guy.
Yeah,
very good solution.
Yeah, not real, but it's real. But if it's really good solution, then it's good. But you have already a solution. But if you give a solution, then the person will say, he will not be motivated. He will be like a barrier because he has the feeling, why did I not come with a solution? So everybody will always feel like suppressed a little bit because why should I do that? I always have to do what this guy told me. And if it doesn't come out like your solution, like you thought it, or it has not the result like you thought it, they only have one to blame and they will say, yeah, it's your solution.
Can you give me the method?
It's your solution. So that's why it doesn't work.
Technically, how do you do that?
I think it's always you have to always listen to the reality of people.
Yes.
And then you have to say, okay, we want to reach there with the goal.
Okay.
Can you think about it? Do you know a way how we can get to that result?
And you basically guide the person to the solution,
yes,
right?
Yes, they will come with something and then you can say, but yeah, did you think about that and that? Maybe we have also, because I think that can be a factor we have to think about. And then you say, oh yeah, and then they make a new solution. And then at a certain point they come with something perfect and you say, yeah, this is it.
So you basically don't use affirmations when you speak to people, you use questions.
Yeah.
You don't say, we have to do this. You say, what do you think, how we can do that?
Yeah.
But have you thought about the problem that
Of if they come with something and you know it will not work completely because they didn't talk about everything, then you will say, sometimes I say, yes, maybe not bad, but I think it's better that you think about it more. And then they will think more. And they say, oh yeah, I thought about that and that, that's good.
Have you ever done the thing when somebody comes with a solution, and even if you think that it's perhaps not the best solution, just put it to a test? Have you tried that?
Put it on a test?
Yeah, I mean, if you have a problem, and some person from the company comes with a solution, but you don't think it's the best solution, let's say.
Yeah.
Have you ever tried just to test it? To test the solution? If you don't think it's perfect?
Which purpose? What is the purpose to do it?
The purpose,
because
perhaps
there is okay.
Perhaps it works.
That's the question. Is there perhaps it works? Or is there a thing I'm certain it will not work?
Okay, no, not like that. Okay. Perhaps it works, and if it doesn't work, at least you support ideas.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, sometimes like that. I'm not certain it will work, but I don't see another solution. But just try it, and then it's right. And then you also know if it's not really working. You know you're trying something together. It doesn't matter.
How much do you read per week in hours, let's say? Average.
I need to read a little bit more. I want to read more, but I try to read a few evenings in the week.
So you.
But the goal must be that I read every evening a few pages.
Every evening a few pages.
Yeah.
But
that's the goal.
During the years, your reading went down or up? Like you were reading much more before?
No, I'm reading more now.
You're reading more now?
Yeah.
Okay. You feel that the books help you a lot, right? In your business? The information that you get.
It gives you sometimes a confirmation. Sometimes you do something, you see it's working, but then you read it and then you see, okay, I'm doing it good. So it's a confirmation of what you're doing.
Yeah, I also believe that.
And that's a nice thing. And sometimes you see people talk about something, or you read something, and you say, oh, that's an interesting to imply, and you apply it.
So what you read, you apply immediately, right?
I think that's very action person. That's very I think that's very important because I see a lot of people who read a lot also.
Yeah.
But they don't what are they doing with that?
Yeah, exactly.
If you don't apply it in your life, you don't apply it in your business or in your personal life, what are you doing with the stuff? It's nice to know it, but if you don't do anything with it, why do you read it?
Yeah, they think too much.
Yeah. Sometimes I see people going on a course and then I see what did you do with it and they didn't do anything with it. So yeah, then you're losing your time being on a course that you don't apply in your company. Yeah. So if I follow something or if I do a course, I always apply it. So that the courses that you did or the time that you spent in it, it's worth it.
Okay. When was the time you felt like you made it in business? Usually people ask the question, you know, the classical question. How? Because people say that it's, when you do $1 million, for example, they say that okay, that's the hardest thing to do, and from that point onward, things get easier. I don't want to ask you that question, which is so classical and perhaps intrusive, or I don't know. But I want to ask you, when did you feel that you made it, and that you passed the bridge? I mean, the hard bridge, and now from this point, things can go smoother.
I think it's a kind of a feeling. Okay. I think it's not numbers of turnover. It's like a kind of a feeling. It's like when you feel like you have control about everything in your company. When you feel you control everything in your company, then you have the feeling, okay, I have it under control, and that's a nice feeling.
How many years after you started you got that feeling?
Let me think. I think it's five years or something like that.
So 5 years after you started,
Yeah.
you felt okay, I'm good now. So I achieved something.
Then I felt okay. I have the feeling that it's under control.
It's okay.
Yeah. And then you also know a little bit all the things that you need to do. So you know, it's not now. It's like I want to grow, for example, 50 or 60%, and you know all the steps you need to do to reach it. So you start working on it at the end of the year, and you say, I need to do all those steps before the beginning of next year, and then we can make 60% in that year, and then you do it. So it's like something you know it will work, and then you feel like control.
Because you have the machinery now. I mean, the company is a machinery.
Yeah.
But in the first 5 years, you built the machinery, right? Is that
build
correct?
Machinery. Yeah.
And now you can work with the machinery.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And a very important thing, I think, for my own, is that you build your machinery yourself. That you really, you take some advice, you read some courses, you do some books, but you make the decisions for your own, and you build the machinery. It's your creation. It's not the creation of somebody else. You don't say, I take this and I just imply it. If you feel it's good, you adapt it to your company, and then you imply it, so that it's your creation of your company. And that's, I think, an important thing. And if you create all the machinery and they start working together, then you feel, okay, I have it under control, but there's nothing in your company you don't know about, that you don't understand.
So the hardest thing to do after you started the business was to create a working machinery. Because I think in the first years you were doing most of the work yourself, right?
Yeah. Because you start with doing a lot of the work yourself, then the time you have left, you build your machinery. The experience that you take by doing it yourself, you also put it in your machinery, but you have to adapt it, you make it better. Then you know, okay, this part of the machinery is not good enough, you follow a course, you apply it, you read a book, you apply it, and you make everything better and better and better. Till you have persons who have the philosophy of you, because it's your philosophy, because you built it all the years. So that experience, nobody has it in your company, and that's experience you give to other person, then they start to think like you, and then you can also make the machinery better, and then they come with new solutions. They say, oh, give me this and this and this, and they say, oh, it's good. And then you know they are busy with it to make it better without you telling them, without guiding them, because you know they will do it.
That's the amazing, I think it's the point where things get really fun.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
When you can trust people.
Yeah. But the way through is also fun.
It's also fun.
Yeah.
But it's harder.
Yeah. The moment you have a lot of barriers, it's the less fun part of the business. And I had also a part like that.
Yeah.
But then you need to go through, and if you go through, you come out stronger, and then you build up a lot of experience, and then you can say, okay, now I'm gonna do it the right way.
You know, I think now in the middle of the interview, it's time to ask you, what is your business? Because I know that you started with one business and then pivoted, but I think this is a very good story.
Yeah.
And could you tell me what was your first business and how you ended up with the second, and what are they doing in the business?
Yeah, the first business is the business that I bought.
Yeah.
Together with a guy, and that's a business that we did technical installations in buildings. But
can you give an example?
Service flats and apartments, and a big aula for university and all the stuff. I did the lighting, the data, the cabling, the electricity, the ventilation, the heating.
I understand. So installations like building installations.
Yeah.
Electricity, piping, cables, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I did some big projects.
Yes.
There are projects. There's a project that I did electricity, and it was a turnover of 1.2 million only for electricity. So it was a big building.
Did you get the customers through auctions, or you just called?
I just called. Yeah.
You just called, right? You just called.
Yeah.
Cold calling.
Yeah. Called or emailing. I just called. Yeah. So that's also
very nice.
Yeah. I saw we are the big construction companies in Belgium. I said, okay, I want to work for that, and I try to get in those companies, and after a while, they just
So you hustle.
give
At
you
the beginning.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
you just.
In the beginning, you have to find your way.
And then.
And then with that person, it was working very good in the beginning, but we didn't have the same future. We didn't have the same goals.
So with your partner that you began with.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and it was not really working together. It was also the first thing that we did, and yeah, the communication was also a problem from both sides, I think. So we grew a little bit like this, and at a certain point, we said, okay, we're gonna stop it because the goals of the future view was not the same. And a few years before, I met another guy, and I started with him another company. When I was doing that, and I said I'm gonna work behind the screens,
Okay.
to educate people, to give some courses, to make machinery, and he did the operational team. So he really worked
When you say
operational.
machinery, you say the organizing of the business.
Yes.
So people understand.
Yes.
Okay.
I was working systems, procedures, all those things, and he was doing really operational. So he was working and doing inspection and planning and invoicing, and he was working.
The second company, what was its product? What did you say?
So the product is an inspection report. That's the inspection company.
But you also told me something about the sun panels.
Solar panel. That was in the first company. Yeah.
So you did installations, but at one point you told me that you specialized everything on solar panels, right?
Yeah.
Because that's a nice story.
Yeah. The first company we did renewable energy.
Okay.
First we did renewable energy,
Okay.
and that was solar panels, heating pumps, all those stuff.
Okay.
But it was a very nice business because it was with the how do you say, you get
Subsidy.
money?
Yeah.
Yeah,
From
it
the
was
state.
subsidized from the
You
state.
got money from the states,
Yeah.
or people got money from the states to
Yeah.
install
Yes.
solar panels, right?
So it was a very nice product to sell. It was very easy to sell.
Very easy to sell, right?
Yeah.
So you made a lot of money in that period,
Yeah.
right? Okay.
We did a lot of turnover in that period.
Yeah.
But then at a certain point they decided we're gonna stop with it. It was on a few days.
The government.
The
decided.
government, they said we stop with it.
So in one day you had your business cut.
Yeah.
In one day.
It was done.
How many employees you had at that time?
I worked, I think, with 20 persons, and I worked with a lot of companies under my company also. Yeah. So, and then it stopped, and it was really stopped. So
what did you
that
do?
means we could not sell it anymore. The days after, people were not interested anymore.
Of course.
Because it was stopped. But it was from one day to the other. It was, and then I had to reinvent the company, and I had to find new clients, and and this was when I started to do the technical installation of big buildings.
So first you did the solar panels and
Yeah.
things, and then you did the big installations.
Yeah.
Okay, in the first company, okay, understand.
Yeah.
And tell me about the second company that you started with a new partner.
And then, yeah, when I was doing that, I started a new company with another guy, and then we started the inspection company.
Okay.
It was like
This
inspections.
is your present company, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And yeah, we learned from the mistakes from the past. So the first thing we did, we talked a lot together. How are we going to do it? What is your future goal? How are we going to work together? And then we also decided, look, everything we do it together. Because if you have a team like 2 persons, and yeah, like an entrepreneur is always creative, he wants to do stuff, but you have to focus on one thing before you start another one. It's not so easy in the beginning. In the beginning, you want to do everything. You want to do this, and I say, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, and after a while, you have so much things you started, but you cannot maintain them. So everything will go bad because you have too much lines that you created. And that was something.
Too many projects.
Yeah, too many projects at the same time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because yeah, so it's interesting, you want to do it because you are enthusiastic. So I want to do this, and then you're busy in that. I want to do that also, and then I want to do that also. But after a while, it's like too much. It's like, okay, I have these things to do, but I can only do this in one day.
You are talking about the things that you do in the same company?
Yeah, it was different companies to each other. Yeah.
Or you wanted to do like many companies?
Yeah.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, it was like that's an interesting company. Yeah, we do it. It was like a little bit like that, but it was, yeah, we grow a little bit too fast on that way. And then it was like he doing that and I'm doing that, and then you don't do it together anymore, and that was like a problem. And now with this guy, we said everything we do it together.
Okay.
So we have a company,
Yeah.
when we are 50-50.
Yeah.
And if you have a new idea, or if you say, okay, we're going to invest in that, we do it with that company.
So you have to approve both of you on every idea.
Yeah.
Right? This is
we always need to go together.
You always need to be together. Yeah.
It always has, it's equal.
Yeah.
That's very important. That we learn. That's my opinion also. It's equal. If you have, it's not an equal division, then somebody always will say we do it that way because I have the most shares.
Yeah.
And then the other guy will always say, or if you do it good, then he will make you a decision, but he will guide you a bit.
Yeah.
That is better, but he knows I have the most shares, so I decide, and that's not. That's my opinion. It will not.
So this is a successful partnership.
Yeah.
I mean, from the human point of view.
Yes.
You get along very well.
Very well. Yeah. And then we do everything with the company. If we want to do something building, we do that. If we don't do something in that, we do it always with that company. And if he works there, or if I spend my time there, we know it's always for the same. It's always for the two of us. So we are not asking, where did you put your time in? Because we know we are working for each other.
Oh, nice.
And that's an idea of the timing. So then you don't need to worry about the timing of another person.
I want to ask you about, because you said that at one point, when the company begins to look like a machinery, you basically trust people that they just do their job. And this is a very interesting concept that many people ask me, for example, how can you trust? How can you, for example, live 3 months in Belgium and trust your teammates? How can you trust that, I don't know, or even if I'm not speaking about this business, or even if it's a new project, people, and I'm telling, I would like to make a team of 3 people and just have one in charge of that, blah blah. But how can you cannot trust anybody? This is the popular, the popular wisdom. Let's say people always say that, and if you don't trust people, in my opinion, you cannot do anything.
No,
because this means that you're alone.
Yeah.
And you're limited to yourself.
Yeah, you will be the limit of your company.
How did you manage to just, did you trust people from the very first day, or you built trust? I mean, you went to a point that you said, okay, I have to trust.
Yeah, there are different things you can do. First, you have to find the right people.
Okay.
Yeah, if it's a person that is not really good in his body or not feeling really good, then you also know that you cannot trust them completely.
How can you know that?
Like a personality test. We do
for the personality test.
Yeah, every guy that starts in the company has to do a personality test, and there's 200 questions. And out the questions is coming a whole profile of you. How are you in your life? And if a lot of things are very bad, then that means you are not very good in your life. That doesn't mean you're a bad person, but it means you're not stable. You're not stable for the moment, and it also means that you will not make the right calculations at that time, because you have too much bad. You have too much things that influence you, why you cannot do the things that you want to do. So that's, if you can choose, then maybe you can choose better another person. But it's not only the test. You do the test and you do a conversation with the people, and everybody can have something bad. If your girlfriend leaves you at that time, that day it will not be a good test. That's normal. And if it is a good test, then it's also not normal. You see, so that's, you can talk about it. But if people talk about it, you have an impression about the test. And then if they talk about it and they say something like that, and then you see, okay, he's honest about why is he feeling like that, and he says it's from his own, and then it's good. Because it gives you the reality. And then as a boss, you can work with that reality, and you can say, okay, I know your reality, I can take it, I can live with it, I can use it, I can make it easier for you because I know what problems you have. So then you can work together. So that's something we do.
Yeah. Okay.